Welcome to our podcast, Bumps in the Night, Ghosts, Ghouls, and Hauntings. We are three like-minded women coming together with an interest in the unknown. We want to share stories and discoveries with you, dear listener. So, won't you join us on our journey? This is episode 10, Haunted Vacations, Midwest, USA. Hi, I'm Mary.
I'm Brooke.
And I'm Sarah. Let's jump into our first segment. What's haunting us this week? Mary, how about you take it away?
Lack of sleep is haunting me this week.
Preach.
That is wonderful reasons for not getting sleep, but still no sleep, which is a bummer.
All right, Brooke, what's haunting you?
All right. Well, for me, probably all the things I want to do this summer and how I never seem to have enough time. Since, as you both know, I have the summer off, but it seems to just fly by. And I have this endless list of like, oh, I'm going to do this around the house and I'm going to do this activity and I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this. And then before you know it, I'm back to work. So
You're making up for all school year of not having any time.
I have gotten to do some fun things. But what about you, Sarah?
People are gonna think it's silly, but I'm haunted by Labubus right now. I've fallen down the rabbit hole, and I can't seem to find my way out of it. I've been watching the unboxing videos of people getting them, and then like the ones where they're comparing the Labubus to Lafufus, and they're just so funny. Because the Lafufus are just, you have to look it up. They're just, they're so bad. They're like, they don't even try to make them look real. It's absolutely hilarious. It's been fun.
They're little toys, yes.
Yeah, they're little toys. They're little like keychains with little monsters. It's based on a book. I'm forgetting the guy's name, but I believe the book's called The Monsters or something like that. But look them up. That's really, the videos are funny.
No, that makes a lot more sense. I didn't realize it was a book thing. I thought they were just a thing people got obsessed with.
Yeah. Yeah, it started as a book. People didn't get obsessed until he paired up with the company to make the toys. I think it's Pop Mart toys. And like Pop Mart has all sorts of other things. Like people go crazy for the other unboxing stuff too. So they do a lot of stuff. But yeah, so that's what's haunting me in my limited free time.
Yeah, they haunt me, but not because I buy them. They haunt my dreams because they look creepy.
Because they're terrifying. They're creepy looking. That makes them perfect. So yeah, if anyone wants to send me a good lafufu, I'll take it. All right, so let's move on into segment 2, our paranormal deep dive. This week's topic is haunted destinations of the Midwest. Mary, you get to go first again. Go for it.
Hooray! So I looked into a couple of places. One of them was, all of them were in Minnesota. Just because I want to go to Minnesota, mostly. I just think it's a beautiful area. And yeah. Okay, so the Palmer House is a haunted, I believe it's now a hotel. And the main thing about the hotel that everybody seems to talk about is that there was a young boy who died while staying there. So now there are reports of him being seen, bouncing a ball. There's a guy that haunts one of the rooms or many of the rooms. And there is apparently a poltergeist that throws glasses in the bar. People hear, typical knocking and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently there are people who say that it is haunted by Sinclair Lewis. It looks like a really pretty hotel. Like, I would definitely stay there. It's just kind of cute. I like it.
I'm always down for a good haunted hotel. I'll stay there.
Yeah.
Same.
Like, there's like moldings that just look beautiful. Like, it has a lot of character, which most of these haunted places do. It's got good reviews on TripAdvisor. So yeah, I would go.
Nice, nice.
3.9 is not bad for a haunted hotel.
No,
Not at all.
I wonder if it's rated lower because of the hauntings.
Well, that's always what I say. Like, is it lower because of the hauntings or is it higher because of the hauntings? Because you never know.
depending on the haunting, I
If it's just like
guess.
people are excited. Exactly. If
Like if
people are
it's a
excited
mean
to go because of
haunting,
that,
then maybe I
then
would
it's
lower it lower. Like if it's like terrorizing me. But if it's like, ghost that cleans my room, we've had those. Like we've heard of those. I want one. I'd be okay with it.
exactly.
5 stars
Exactly.
all the way. Puts my laundry away. Perfect.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, One of the other places that came up are the Wabasha Street Caves in Minnesota. Those are also supposed to be haunted. These again look like a cool place. Like I would walk through these. These look really cool. They're man-made caves. They were dug into the cliffs on the south side of the Mississippi River, which also always be cool. That's just a really interesting river to be around. Um, so yeah, they're not far from downtown. They're like just across the way. And you can do all sorts of stuff. There's like a science museum nearby, all the fun things. But as far as the haunting goes, oh, I mean, it's a cave, so they're creepy. They were used in the past for storage. So things like growing mushrooms or as hideouts for the mob. People have been rumored, yeah, they've been rumored to hear music, seeing lights, or feeling touches. Visitors and staff have reported that, which is really cool.
It said I saw somewhere it just said like it's 25 rumored to be 25 to 30 ghosts there. So a bit crowded.
It's, yeah, a little crowded. And a cave is an interesting place to pick to haunt, I suppose. I mean, we hear like castles and stuff. I get why somebody wouldn't want to leave a castle, or a beautiful hotel. I get why somebody wouldn't want to necessarily leave that. But a cave, especially a cave that's like a hideout, maybe they're like still trying to hide. That's interesting. But if they're making noises and touching people, I suppose they're not very good at hiding anymore. Or maybe they weren't good at hiding and that's why they're ghosts. But yeah.
As possible.
In Minnesota, in Minneapolis, there is a live music venue called First Avenue. It is rumored to be haunted. It just, I love a music venue to begin with. It's very like Phantom of the Opera kind of feeling. So I'm always here for that. It used to be a bus depot. The most famous story is of a woman waiting at the bus depot for her husband to come back from the Second World War. She learned he died, and distraught with the news, she hung herself in the bathroom. This is similar. So I feel like this story, again, my spidey senses are tingling. Like I hear this a lot in hauntings. It's very like a woman killed herself because her man who's far away has died. This she was waiting for her Navy man to come back and she saw his ship sink and she killed herself. It's very common trope in the hauntings I'm seeing. That being said, is it possible? Sure. People have said they've seen her in the ladies' stall or dancing in the main room in an army jacket. But again, could that have been literally anybody else? I mean, I'm sure there were women who had army jackets from their bows. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
did it necessarily have to be the same woman? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that people had talked about is a girl wearing green army fatigues and bell bottoms. This is what piqued my interest because I feel like a lot of hauntings will come from like the 1870s, the 1890s, but it's never something that's more recent in history. And like a teenage girl in army fatigues and bell bottoms definitely reads 60s or 70s, even possibly 90s, but not like 90s was more of a resurgence of that kind of stuff, but in the 60s where people are protesting and dealing with all that makes sense. So even if these are not correct, I'm at least happy that the creation of these myths is coming up with newer stuff because I feel like there's got to be more lore if people are dying and this is a portal of some kind, or there's a reason that ghosts are able to stay there. Why haven't we seen anybody since the 1800s, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I
that
feel
makes
like that's
sense.
really interesting, especially something that's now a venue and all that stuff. But again, who knows? But yeah, the First Avenue music venue is just, that sounds really cool.
I'd check it out. It sounds cool.
Moving on to another location in Henderson, Minnesota, there's a haunted location that they talk about a local legend about a World War I widow. Again,
Those widows, they can't ever catch a break.
typical with the widows, right? It's they live these sad lives, which is understandable.
They never move on. They never find somebody else or other happiness. They're just always depressed and then they die and they're just that way.
Definitely. So they nickname her Crazy Annie. It is said that she killed her children and then herself. So very gruesome kind of thing. And again, like as a mom now who knows about like postpartum and all that, I'm just like,
Yeah.
it definitely feels different than I'm sure it did a while back talking about these kind of stories. But she drowned her children and then took her own life by hanging herself off of a tree near the bridge. It's again similar to Crybaby Bridge stories where there's a woman who's said to have drowned her children and now she haunts the area. These are similar stories. I feel like anytime a woman does anything horrific, people are like, that's really, really particularly heinous. And so now they are the ones haunting things. So yeah, the location specifically, it's named as the 270th Street in Minnesota. Again, visitors have reported things like ghostly screams, apparitions, unexplained handprints on the vehicles again, which always gets me, it's just very, very interesting. And I love a bridge. I think we want to make bridges haunted because I don't know about you, but every time I go over a bridge or I see a bridge, I have the unconscious thoughts about like, what if I just, what if I did, it's a dangerous thing. We know that.
After I had my child, my postpartum anxiety made me so anxious just driving over a bridge with him in the car because I just had this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my God, what if I drove off right now?
Yep.
Would I be able to save him and myself?
Yeah.
And it was like the weirdest because I never had that just myself driving over. Like maybe once in a while I'll be like, oh, that would suck. But it was never like this overwhelming fear as I approached a bridge of like, oh my God, I'm going to drive off this bridge. Well, thank God, never happened. But like,
I just like the idea that like you approach a bridge and you're like, oh, that would suck. Oops.
Some
But
of
yeah,
the
I
really
mean, the
high
intrusive
ones
thought.
freak me out.
oh yeah, like there's one in Pennsylvania that's absolutely terrifying. It's like over a town.
Yeah, and I think that's normal. I think everybody, I mean, that's true with anything that has the potential to kill you, right? We see fire, we use it every day on the stove, and yet we know, hey, this is danger, right? So I think there's something, yeah, intrinsically with bridges in particular that people kind of go to.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
But yeah, it's just fascinating. Brooke,
Yep.
what do you have?
So I decided to study Waverly Hills.
Yes.
I picked it as its sanatorium based in Kentucky. And, sanatoriums are always so fascinating, creepy. Actually, the town I live not too far from the one that was here back in the day. Well, it's still here. Obviously, it's just not being used for that. Someone privately owns it. And they might actually turn it into a bed and breakfast, which is exciting.
Oh,
So
really?
more on that if I find out, or like a Airbnb or something. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of towns had them. Obviously, they're fascinating. They're creepy. This one was used to treat tuberculosis, like most of them were in that time. But like many in the early 1900s, they were known for brutal treatments. They even this one earned the nickname White Plague due to the high mortality rate and the isolation of the location. So over 50,000 people were thought to have died there before it closed in 1961. The building itself actually started out as a family home built by Major Thomas H. Hayes. Hayes established a school there for his daughters, which were named the Waverly School based on their teacher's fondness for the Waverly novels written by Sir Walter Scott. So I thought that was a neat little tidbit as well. Sanatorium is known for its death chute, where they would move the bodies once there was, they lost a patient roughly every hour, it was stated. So that's
rough.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. The chute was originally used to transfer supplies, and I think that's pretty typical of most of the sanatoriums and places like that. And then they do turn into, okay, how do we get this body out discreetly? And, that was just the best route. And while checking out the pictures of the location, the building itself looks really impressive, of course, but couldn't help but notice there's a huge gargoyle that sits outside the building. Apparently, he has a name. It's Fred. And he was added later on, along with the ones that sit on the buildings, replacing the acorns that had previously been there, which I thought would be a really cool thing to visit and take photos of. There is also a horror movie filmed there called Death Tunnel. So I guess I have a new location to check out.
Have you watched the movie yet?
No, but you know me, I'm like, oh, based on a true story. I think I might have to check this out, or, a cool location. So, but yeah, as far as being able to go there, you have to reserve a tour. But in the fall, they're going to have a haunted house for those of you that are interested in checking it out. Actually, I'm thinking, oh, that sounds pretty good for one of these times too. But along with, and I like to keep a little mystery with it too and let people go and investigate the place, but I also kind of want to give you a little teaser of what people have seen. So I guess a lot of investigators and visitors have seen shadow people, ghostly children, and get this, there's a man in white that they see.
Yes!
So I was like,
Finally!
hey.
Sorry.
And then
Gender
another
equality. Yes.
yeah, right. Another really interesting tidbit is that in 1928, there was a nurse named Mary Hillenberg who entered room 502 and hung herself from the ceiling light. Now, this is the really interesting part, though. It was believed that she took her own life because of a pregnancy from one of the male doctors there. So that might be really cool to do a little investigating of and or a little bit more research. So just wanted to add that. So there gained some interest on that location.
Nice. That's really cool. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I've watched a few videos where they investigated
Yeah, a lot of it's
places.
supposedly one of the most haunted locations. So definitely probably a lot out there for those of you that are interested in checking it out. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty neat. One of the cool things about these episodes is that I'm constantly researching new places to go, but my list is growing. So
Same.
we'll see
Yeah.
how many I can get to. What about you, Sarah?
So my Midwest locale is in Ohio. If you're looking to plan a ghost-filled getaway in the Midwest, allow me to introduce you to Franklin Castle. This towering Victorian-era mansion sits in Cleveland, and it may look like a Gothic dream from the outside, but if you learn about the history, it's a little bit more nightmarish than Dream Getaway. Franklin Castle was built in 1864 for, I'm going to butcher the names, and I'm so sorry, Hannes Tiedemann, a wealthy German immigrant, and his family. And things went downhill really fast for them, unfortunately. The tragedies began in 1891 when Hannes and Louise's 15-year-old daughter Emma died, reportedly from diabetes. Then weeks later, Hannes's mother passed away. Over the next 4 years, the family lost 3 more children, and in 1895, Louise herself died of liver disease. And all of this happened inside the castle, which, is not really that uncommon in that day and age to lose that many kids. But it does seem kind of rather bad luck for it to happen so quickly. So, of course, the rumors started pretty much immediately. Some claimed Emma hadn't died of diabetes at all, but had been found hanged in the attic. Others said the real cause of death for the rest of the family were conveniently never made public. And the theory is that Haynes Tiedemann may have been hiding something or worse. I don't know if I would, believe that, but so rumors began circulating that Haynes had a dark side. Rumors claimed that a servant girl, a mistress, even a niece had met mysterious ends inside the castle. Some say a young woman was strangled. Others claim bodies were hidden in secret tunnels that run beneath the property. And when Haynes remarried shortly after his wife's death, that, only added fuel to the fire. But the ghost stories just begin there. After the Tiedemans, the house passed to the Mulhauser family, who had a surprisingly uneventful 25-year stay, so maybe the place isn't cursed. The calm came to an end when the castle was sold to the German Socialist Party in the 1920s. Publicly, it was used as a cultural center, but neighborhood gossip told a much darker story. People said the castle was a hub for spies and secret meetings, with assassinations planned on site. There are even tales of human experiments being performed by a doctor renting space in the house. So then by the late 1960s, the Romano family moved in and lasted less than a decade. They reported strange voices, moving objects, unexplained cold spots. The hauntings were so intense that they attempted an exorcism. Eventually, they just fled the house entirely. Then came Sam Muscatello, who saw potential in this supernatural buzz and opened the castle up for ghost tours. It became one of Cleveland's most infamous paranormal hotspots. After that, the home passed to Michael DeVinco, Judy Garland's final husband, who hosted lavish parties there in the 1980s. The current owner is a foreign LLC called Oh Dear Productions, which is kind of a ominous name for a company managing one of the most haunted buildings in the Midwest. And the fun part is you can stay the night at Franklin Castle. If you feel brave or a little reckless, you can book an overnight experience, but don't say I didn't warn you. Locals still report eerie sounds coming from inside, wailing, disembodied footsteps, even the cries of unseen children. The most famous apparition is the Lady in Black. Hey, she's not in white. She's said to peer from the tower window, keeping watch over the castle grounds. Ghost tours that swing by Franklin Castle still pause and stare, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. So, if your idea of a perfect vacation includes a little Victorian flair, some sordid history, and maybe a ghostly roommate, Franklin Castle is calling. Whether you take the tour, stay overnight, or just drive by, let us know what you hear, feel, or see, because there's something about this place that refuses to stay buried. So, I definitely want to stay there. What about you guys?
Yeah,
I
I
would.
totally would.
But again, I
Yeah,
would stay
nice.
anywhere.
All right.
I was like, what's the price?
I don't know that. You have to look that one up.
Price is right. I'd stay there. I love Cleveland, so
Yeah,
here
I've
for it.
never been to Cleveland. I'll check it out. Ohio. All right, so now we're going to move into our segment 3, Haunted Headlines. Mary, you want to go first?
No, I do not. No, I'm just kidding.
You have notes. I see your notes.
I do have notes. And a link.
Okay.
This is kind of old news. It's from 2024, so I will give you that. It's from October this last year. And this is a little more on the real side of things than on the haunted side of things. In Hollis, Queens, there was a haunted house. A lot of people liked this haunted house. It was, they had all sorts of mazes and escape rooms, and they had overnight stays and things like that. And the FDNY caught wind of it and went in and said, this place is a death trap completely. Like, they had lots of things that were not supposed to, like, obviously not up to code, but also they were blocking exits. They had combustible materials just kind of accumulating there, which is not good. They were not doing great electrical practices. Were not up to code and were not good, which of course is not ideal for something you've got people going through. They said that there was a lot of alterations to the building, and there was a very heavy fire load. Lots of plastic hanging, things like that, which makes it dangerous not only for the people in the buildings, but if something were to happen, it makes it really difficult for the fire department when they do come in and fix things. And in upstate New York this year, we have lost a couple of firefighters in pretty horrible blazes that we've had. So to me, that is the most, of course, this brings up my intrinsic fear of fire, right? Like, I am terrified of all of these things, probably because I was told about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory way too young, probably part of it. And also that I lived somewhere that looked like that. But
Oh yeah, mine was triggered more with like there was a sorry to go off topic, but there was
no.
a amusement park in Australia that you can look this up. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a ride and like it caught fire and people literally could not get out. They like jumped out of their cars and could not get out, and it was ugh. I watched the video on it. There was a whole like conspiracy around it. That's why there was a video of like what caused it, why, and how they were covering it up and whatnot. But like it was the story is just traumatizing.
it's just terrifying. Luckily, none of that happened here. They just shut it down. It could have been very bad. Exactly. And these are why it's all fun and dandy to have this kind of stuff. I'm really into when people do that, but you really have to follow the fire code. And especially not blocking exits. Like blocking exits to me, the minute I saw blocked exits, I was like, oh no.
I mean, the fire codes are there for a reason, guys. Like, we've had centuries to figure out what's a good way to, like, not die in a fire.
And any average house is going to have something where they're not paying attention or whatever, but you know what? That's your home, and
Yep.
you can make those choices with your own,
Not in public, man.
with your own life. But when you're inviting people in, it really does endanger people. So that's my haunted. It's not technically haunted, but it was a
Gotcha.
haunted house. So I thought it counted.
I mean, it counts. It counts. It's spooky. It's long lines. That's good.
Brooke,
Yeah.
what do you have?
As far as something that is new, when I was looking this up, there's apparently going to be a new ghost hunting show premiering this August. Well, coming up soon. And it's called, let's see, Haunted, the Heartlight Paranormal Files, starring Alan Reeves, who's a former student colleague of the Ed and Lorraine Warren, who I can't get away from lately. I mean, they are the pillar of, investigations here, investigators.
I know, jeez. They're everywhere.
Pioneers of modern paranormal investigation. So, although there is much controversy surrounding the cases, each episode, I guess, of the Paranormal Files is set at a different location, and the name Heartlight is meant to invoke the message of bringing heart and light into dark spaces in order to help those that are being affected by hauntings in a negative way. So, something for those who are interested to look out for in August.
I like that
So yeah, I
idea.
like that spin on it though. Yeah, it's a nice idea. They're not just saying like, walking into these locations and messing with things and then kind of leaving.
Right. It's kind of like what the ghost hunters started out as, before they, like, everything was haunted. They were going to people's houses and, like, letting them know whether it was just the plumbing or,
Yeah,
like, if they legitimately had something going on and how do you handle it if you do
exactly.
have something going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'll check out that new show. Yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah. Seems like it might be. See if we like it. Yeah, check it out. What about you, Sarah?
So, I was, in my digging, found a article from the Paranormal Daily News. Journalist Craig Weiler, again, I'm probably butchering names, sorry. He explored a fascinating study on the professionalization of mediums and channelers. Not quite ghost hunting, but kind of along the lines. It's not like a haunting story, but I just thought it was kind of cool because, like, one of my pet peeves with mediums has always been, how do you know if they're legit and how do you know if they're, taking advantage of people? It's just give me the icks. So in the article is published in the Journal of Parapsychology. The study surveyed around 150 practitioners to examine whether the field is ready for things like ethical guidelines, formal training, and standardized practices. Most respondents were educated, middle-aged women, many of whom were already operating with strong ethical beliefs. They supported the idea of formalizing the field with agreed upon standards, consistent terminology, and even client protections, like complaint processes and fee transparency. The idea is that with the structure and regulation, mediumship might gain greater public respect and weed out scammers or bad actors. Which that sounds, like a good thing to me. Like I wouldn't say no to that. I mean, how can you make sure that they're actually doing it? I don't know.
Right,
Yeah.
we can't really quiz you on that. But I mean,
Right.
even pirates have a code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, but the study pointed out that unlike highly regulated fields like construction or therapy, mediumship has historically avoided this due to the perception that it poses little risk. But many practitioners now argue that doing harm, emotionally or spiritually, is still possible and should be taken seriously, which I agree, especially when they're like meeting with people who've recently lost somebody or, they're traumatized.
Absolutely.
One of the key challenges, though, is enforcement, which is the same for like therapy and everything else. Without a way to hold ethical mediums accountable, a code of ethics lacks real weight. Still, a follow up study has proposed a foundational ethics code to get the ball rolling. Demographically, the field isn't what most people would expect. A surprising number of mediums are well educated, and many hold bachelor's and master's degrees. Most see just a handful of clients per week and charge between $100 to $300 per session, meaning mediumship is often a side job rather than a full-time gig. A major point of debate in the field is whether mediumship is an innate ability or something that can be taught. This matters because if it's learnable, then training and certification becomes even more important in establishing credibility. And in the end, the study concluded that mediumship as a profession is inching towards legitimacy, and there's a long way to go. Many practitioners are eager for ethical structure, better education, and more community connection. But until enforcement and standardizations are in place, public trust remains limited. And I would agree with that. Like I don't I I take everything from mediums and sensitives and all that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for our news. Let's jump into segment 4.
You got mail.
It's our listener mail and slash call for stories. We have no listener mail yet. Hopefully somebody will send us something in.
Darn, someone send us some mail. I want to read some mail.
I know, I want to read
Yeah.
stories. Give me your stories. Send them all.
We are interested. All right. You have a ghost story from a Midwestern haunt, visited Waverly Hills. Tell us what happened. Email beyondupstatemps@gmail.com and we might read your story on air.
That's it for this episode of Bumps in the Night, Ghosts, Ghouls, and Hauntings. Thanks for hanging out with us in the shadows, whether you're here for the scares, the stories, or just our charming voices. If you've got a haunted tale of your own, a weird headline you want us to check out, or a place you think we should feature, send it our way. You can find all our links, show notes, and contact info in the episode description or wherever you're listening. Don't forget to follow us on social media for behind-the-scenes updates, sneak peeks, and all things spooky. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just search for Beyond Upstate Modern Paranormal Society on Facebook and Beyond Upstate Paranormal on Instagram. And if you're looking to rock some haunted merch, check out our shop. Links in the show notes. Please like and share our podcast with your friends. It keeps us going. Until next time, keep your lights on, your EMF readers charged, and remember, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Stay spooky, friends.